meeting of the Board of Franklin County Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Present.
Commissioner Harris?
Present.
Chair Dickinson?
Present.
Commissioner Dunn?
Present.
Vice Chair Waymire?
Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Any correspondence or organizational business today?
No, ma'am.
All right. Do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
All right. The consent agenda today consists of the minutes from the meeting on June 28th, the minutes from the study session on July 10th, tax change orders in the amount of minus $7,942.42, and the solicitation of bids for tires. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move. Second.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Dickinson?
Yes. And looks like we have some planning and zoning requests today. So our first order of business, consider approval of special use permit application 2304-2055 to allow for the operation of a respite care facility for children in an A1 agriculture zoning district.
Good morning, Commission. So, as you said, this is basically a respite ranch for adopted children or fostered children. What it is it gives the parents an opportunity to get a break and some help to take in children or teens that are in a rough patch of their life as they're navigating the foster system or newly adopted. So what they're proposing is to utilize 40 acres of their own in order to bring a safe, nurturing area for the children to be able to take a weekend off. And they have a lot of classes and different faith-based activities and food and all kinds of different things scheduled. And it's real structured. After talking with the applicants, they have a lot of education background in taking care of children, and they've done this type of work in the past through the state of Kansas, I believe they worked with. So this basically would allow them to utilize the full 40 acres to the north. They have two parcels of 40 acres, but the south acreage is not part of this special use permit, so it's only the north 40 to utilize their house as the housing unit for up to 5 children or 5 teens. They have 2 bedrooms to separate the genders of the children. 3 can be in one room and 2 in the other, depending on who's present at the time. They will have 1 staff member at all times, 24 hours at least, to watch the children, and the parents will be there during the day, but they will not be staying the night. And so what this is basically, it's considered a group home from a zoning perspective because it is for children and they are being watched by not their parents. They did have children prior, but they've all moved out, so all bedrooms are utilized. Septic will have to be insured by the Environmental Health Department that it can fulfill the needs of the added individuals because we're potentially exceeding what the house was designed for permanent residents. As you can see, we've attached the daily schedule. It seems very standard as far as a daily event of what they would do. Most of these children would stay up to 2 days over just every other weekend. However, we did change the rules during the Planning Commission meeting to allow for up to 2 weeks for a single kid a child to stay. We did attach some conditions. The applicant shall obtain all appropriate building permits for any kind of new construction, reconstruction, or additional remodels. Development shall comply with all sanitary, building, and fire codes. That also ensures that the state is going to be involved with this. A lot of what they're attempting to do is actually governed by the state entity, so we don't have to be continuing enforcement of this project. It would actually be up to the state's fire marshal. They come in, they inspect the home, they make sure that all the safety devices are working and stuff like that on a potentially an annual basis, I believe. The special use is granted for operation of a respite care for the children. Any additional uses and expansions will require an amended special use permit. If they were to try and move to the southern 40 and promote business onto that parcel, which I do believe there is a plan potentially going forward, they'll have to get a secondary special use to expand onto that parcel. The site on-site sanitation facilities will be maintained at all times as required and upgraded if necessary. The children shall be between the ages of 8 and 17 and shall not exceed five children per visit every other weekend. If approved, the state fire marshal and a number of children shall be limited to 3 per bedroom. Any signs in conjunction with this special use shall conform with our zoning zoning regulations. And then the special use shall be null and void if operations cease to exist after 1 year. So I believe that is all I have for the Josies. I do not believe that they are here. We did have comment from one neighbor that was prior to the planning commission. They were worried about children getting too close to their cattle to the south, but then once I explained they're not utilizing that 40 acres, they're much more inclined to recommend their approval of the special use permit, with the understanding children need a safe place to go. And that is all I have.
So are they licensed by the state then to do this?
They hold, and I can't tell you what the license, the organization that they work with, but it is through the state, yes.
Okay, so they have to inspect the facility and then.
The state fire marshal comes in and they do inspect the facility. It's the same, I believe it might even be the same group that does the foster care, because it's, as personal experience, when we went through the foster care system, because we were going to attempt to do that, we did have to have our house as well inspected. So it's pretty much the same situation.
When a operation is served by a well, does that well have to be inspected and the water tested?
We are basically assuming that because there's already a residence, it had been in the past. I don't know that we could provide another testing, because we do provide free testing for the for contaminants. So if that's something we want to do, we absolutely could require it.
Well, I know the water districts have to do it like fairly often, test their water.
Yeah, and that was a concern of mine. I guess I was just basing this off of precedents in the past when we've done things like this. As far as just wells in general, we haven't required any further testing other than the initial, when we initially install the well. But now that it's becoming the public is now using the water, or members of the public, which would be the children and their parents, we could absolutely make that one of the conditions. And it's a simple, we do it with a lot of times people just want the test to test their own wells. It's not a hard, complicated process either. We have them free to distribute at in the office.
Something I think should be on there.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
How often though do you think it needs to be tested?
Well,
I mean,
once a year, annually.
Okay.
you all agree? You think that's important?
I was just curious if, once the state fire marshal does come through and make his inspection, is there anything in there that they're supposed to report to the county? Anything that's supposed to be done, or that it's, met all the requirements? And
I believe their inspection is enforced by their own entities. We could definitely contact the state fire marshal to get their report and ask, so we could have it on our
I know
files.
it hasn't been with children, but I know that we've had a couple of deals where they've had elderly care situations.
Right.
And I always remember that the local fire protection wanted to know what was in these facilities and what's happening, because when they're not, I have the city where they prepared for group people in the home or something, they should be notified, hey, when you guys go out there for a fire or something, we want you to know there's possibility of 8 or 10 people, in that home, not just, and it is, not a big deal. I'm sure maybe the fire marshal will require that to be done,
And I can also get with Tom, because we can coordinate that with the local fire chief if
Yeah.
they have any special needs or
I'd ask a lot of
information.
questions about other, but as long as the state fire marshals, like egress windows and,
Absolutely.
are they in a basement?
And
But that'll all be covered by the state fire marshals.
correct.
And this is out in the country though, too, it's covered by
Yes.
rural fire.
So we'll have to figure out which fire district that they fall under, and we'll let. You're right. They do need to communicate that so that they are aware that this is the situation on that property. I agree. So we will make the change to the conditions. We'll add the.
I guess, do 3 of you agree with that? Would you like to see that condition added about the wells?
It's a drilled well.
It is a drilled well.
I don't see I don't, but what do you guys think? Do you think they need to have the well tested yearly?
I think, if this is water district, it's all under state regulations, but, a well is not, It is if you ask for it. Is that what you're asking?
Well, Roy would like the water tested yearly. Do you agree with that?
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I used to be on a well like that, and there probably was out like that where it's not inspected by, local entities, periodically, things do happen, changes, so the more you're bringing in, if they were doing it just for themselves, that's one thing, but you're bringing in children and other, and I feel like we're responsible for not asking for something like that,
Okay. You're agreeing then? Okay, all right, looks like, yeah.
And I don't think that's it's not a hard, complicated process, so.
So do we have authority from you to add the condition, and I will review the language myself and then go ahead and execute?
Yeah.
So you'll give approval to this special use permit, including the revised condition, is what that motion will look like effectively.
All right, does somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yeah.
Chair Dickinson?
Yeah. Second item of business, consider the approval of rezoning application 2304-2056, Legal to rezone approximately 10.12 acres from A1 Agriculture District to the RE Residential Estate.
Okay, yes, this property is currently located at what is commonly known as 2350 Nevada Road. It is located roughly 2 miles east of the south end of Ottawa. This property is currently a tract of approximately 73 acres and is being requested that 10 acres be broke off and rezoned to the RE district. This new proposed property will most likely have an entrance off of Rock Creek Road because it is currently addressed off of the Nevada Road, but how it chops off to the west, therefore giving it only access to Rock Creek Road, and it will get that address attached to it once they propose to build a building or something of that nature. All entrances to this property will be approved by the Public Works, the County Public Works, and it does not appear to add a significant amount of traffic to that hardtop road. There's a letter on file that Rural Water 2 will be able to provide this property water if needed. The proposed 10-acre tract will be large enough to accommodate in-ground or lagoons, regardless of what the soil profile will dictate. The surrounding area is predominantly agriculture, but it does have 7 residential estate zone districts within the immediate surrounding mile. Notifications of the rezoning were sent out to 8 of the surrounding property owners, and we've had no communication from the public for or against this rezoning. The rezoning does appear to meet the criteria set by the comprehensive plan of the neighboring area, as there are already residential estates in the area, and does not appear to negatively impact any directly adjoined properties, nor does it appear to significantly change the layout of the area. Staff and the Planning Commission both recommend approval for this zoning request.
Any questions?
Comment? Okay, an affirmative motion would be, I make a motion to approve rezoning application 2304-2056 to rezone approximately 10.12 acres from the A1 Agriculture District to the RE Residential Estate, and to amend the official county zoning map accordingly.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre? Yes. Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Chair Dickinson?
Yes. Third item of business, consider the approval of rezoning application 2304-2058 Winger Jr. to rezone approximately 40.55 acres from the A1 Agriculture District to the A2 Transitional Agriculture District.
This property is currently located as what commonly known as 3637 Rock Creek Road. It's located roughly 4 miles east of the south side of Ottawa, basically 2 miles further than the last one we just did. Same road, blacktop's the predominant way of travel for this newly potentially created parcel. It does not appear that the added traffic would be a hindrance to the roads that are in place. The original parcel already has all the utilities required and a dwelling already on the property. The new parcel is large enough to ensure proper sanitation for in-ground or a lagoon, depending on what the soil profile will dictate. There is rural water available in the area. However, because it's a 20-acre parcel, it will not require a proof of water at this time until a residence is being proposed. At this time, we have a survey on file. It was having to be changed from the Planning Commission meeting because it could not meet the setbacks to the existing lagoon. However, they did make the adjustments to make it fit the 20 acres so that we'll have 2 equal parcels to meet the A2 districts. We actually received that today, and so we have it on file now. Notification was sent out to 8 surrounding property owners. We had no communications for or against the split of the A1 to 2 A2s. Staff and the Planning Commission have both recommended approval of this rezoning as it meets the guidance of the comprehensive plan, as these are generally still considered agricultural lots and appear to resemble the size of the lots in the area. That's all I have.
Any questions? All right, an affirmative motion would be I make a motion to approve rezoning application 2304-2058 to rezone approximately 40.55 acres from the A1 Agriculture District to the A2 Transitional Agriculture District and to amend the official county zoning map accordingly.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Dickinson?
Yes. And the last item of business is to consider awarding the corrugated, thanks Pat, the corrugated metal pipe bid to Wellborn Sales for 42 various size pipes in the amount of $25,275.12.
Good morning, Commissioners. We sent email bids to bid solicitation to 4 different vendors, the folks that we usually do business with. We received 3 bids for the pipe, and Wellborn Sales was the low bid across the board. And so we would like to move forward with this bid and get our stock of pipes back up where they need to be.
Price is going down yet?
Yes, actually, they've gone down for a second time in a row now.
Awesome. All right, to move forward, I make a motion to award the corrugated metal pipe bid to Wellborn Sales for 42 various size pipes in the amount of $25,275.12.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Chair Dickinson?
Yes. And that concludes our business. We'll move on to staff reports. Derek?
Thanks, Ian. Couple of things. And I've been in touch with one of you about this, want to invite all of you Friday morning. And that's not set in stone, but we'd kind of like to get it there. We are going to have, it's really a photo op out in Wellsville at the ambulance station. They are breaking ground Thursday. And we feel like we should at least get out there. Talking with Christy about it, she wants to do the hard hat and shovel thing, so would love to have you all out there to take a picture. Joanna is going to at least talk to a couple of you about it, and she's going to put a story together, put it online. We're looking at Friday, 9 a.m. Already talked to Paul. It's my understanding he's going to be there. I believe Dawn's going to be there. I will be there. Christy and some of her staff will be there. I think we're going to have a proper ceremony when the building is built, so we can have an open house. We can get COFO out there, do something a little bit more formal at that point. But for now, we're just looking at taking some pictures.
Well, I can go.
Okay.
There.
9 on Friday, okay with?
Yeah. When you go in there, you pull in like you're going around to the dollar store, there's,
And then turn
don't let it throw you off. There's a construction entrance. You don't want that one. Move on down about another 150 feet, and there's a little gravel road that leads back around and take you right back to the, and it ends right on the other building. It already has Wellsville Police Department
Yeah.
on the front of the building, so.
Yeah, you can make it out, that'd be great. I'm super excited about this project, great partnership, so. Second thing, and we'll let Janet hop in here too as necessary. Next week, we have to declare whether or not we're gonna stay revenue neutral in 2024. In talking with her yesterday, I think we can. She's been fantastic. She put together a packet of info. We went through all of it. I think we can do it, and I think we can do it responsibly. So as we sit here today, I think it would be our recommendation to you that we declare that we are going to stay revenue neutral, and then let us fine tune that and bring you a proper budget. But that's where we're at. Janet, do you want to jump in?
So you guys know that we work with the department heads every year. We look for ways to find these efficiencies. Last year, we made the really difficult decision to limit services for the juvenile detention center, which was a difficult decision, but a good move for cost savings. We did the bond defeasance, which saved us significantly in bond and interest. So we made some good moves last year. Of course, we're always mindful of taking care of our employees, so that will still all be covered. As you know, that we covered all of that. But just making some really responsible choices and asking all of our department heads to really look for ways to save, I think has resulted in us being in a position that it looks very favorable to be able to stay revenue neutral. We're still finalizing, making some minor adjustments, and of course, we'll have something in front of you guys so you can make the decision. But like Derek said, it has to be made next week. So we'll be working on that hard this week to make sure everything looks good.
What is your definition of revenue neutral?
The definition of revenue neutral is exactly as it is in statute, that we don't levy $1 more than what we levied the year before. Has nothing to do with the mill rate. It has everything to do with the dollars levied.
And to be clear, we understand that we're trying to get on top of David's equipment replacement schedule and what we want to do with the blades. We understand that Christie's revenue at the moment is declining. I don't believe we're cutting corners to put a revenue neutral budget in front of you. I think we have a unique opportunity. It's kind of the culmination of several years of responsible budgeting to do this and still keep the organization in a pretty good spot.
So what we're saying is, there's a good possibility next week that we may, it looks like we are, but with more information, we'll make that determination next week, or
Yeah,
we have to make that
you
decision.
have to. If you're going to exceed revenue neutral, you have to declare that next week. But our recommendation is that
Okay.
we don't make that declaration.
Since they could, I know when we was out to the commissioner deal, there was only 3 counties, I believe, last year that were revenue neutral. And one of them said, and I'm pretty sure one of them, there's not going to be of the 3 this year. So that's quite a accomplishment if you can do it without damaging yourself. Everybody can do it if they want to damage what you have and maybe live with it the rest of your years, you know. But when there's only 3, and then possibly, and one of them 3 physically said they probably wouldn't be able to do it this time around, so.
It is difficult, especially being mindful of giving those performance raises to our employees. You guys know it. I hear you guys say it all the time, that our employees are our biggest asset. We want to make sure that we take care of those. And that's absolutely, year over year, those are where the increases are coming, is taking care of our employees year after year. We're asking the department heads to look for ways to save money and to not spend money on things that we just don't need, because we want to be as responsible as possible, making difficult decisions to save money places so that this can happen. This may not be an every year thing, like Don said. You know, I've talked to those counties too, and it is difficult to do it multiple years in a row, but we are in a position this year that it looks pretty good to do that.
And I hope, and I'm supremely confident I wouldn't have to say this to my leadership team, and I hope that the 4 of you know this. I would not recommend this. Absolutely would not recommend this if I didn't feel we could do it responsibly. I will put this organization and our employees above anything. I've done it for 9 years now. Like, we wouldn't be recommending this if we couldn't. We feel like we can. I would go a step farther than Janet and say, I guarantee you we won't be able to do it multiple years in a row. But I think we can this year, and because we can, I think we should. I think it's responsible. I think it's responsible for the taxpayer. Happy to get you any further information that you need. in the next week. Would love to sit down with any of you and walk through every page of this. I think that would, if there's any unease on your part, I think that'll help soothe it, so.
Yeah, I think maybe it would help a little bit in what Paul does too, because he can show, a business coming in, what the county did, the 1 year maybe, but at least he can show to them that, the community's making an attempt to hold the line.
Absolutely.
My only concern would be, they always say, even if you can, you shouldn't, just in case you have some kind of a natural disaster or something that comes through. And then you absolutely can't spend that extra dollar, or you're in, I mean, can you do it without doing it? Can you
So,
hold the line, but not say you're holding the line?
So if I can just address that, so that we've worked really hard in the last number of years that Derek and I have been doing this to build our reserves up to that 25% threshold, and we're absolutely not backing down on that. We're going to meet that this year, but we're also planning ahead and keeping a little bit more, so as projects come available, that we have that money, and we still have that reserve cushion for emergencies, and that's really important. That's something that our bond counsel has told us every single time. That's what got us our bond rating increase last year. That's what's helping us every step of the way, is planning for emergencies and being able to take care of things as we go. Like Derek said, we've sat down with David. We've talked about his replacement schedules. We're trying to work towards, getting to like a cash model for his equipment. So we are planning for these. We are not skimping on any of these things. We're making sure Christy's taking care of an ambulance, and even though it's a different time for them. So we're not doing anything here. We're making sure everybody's taken care of, but we're just in a pretty good place right now, and our department heads are absolutely the foundation of that, by looking at their budgets and making sure that everything is as tight as possible.
Okay,
Any more questions, thoughts on that? Again, happy to,
I think it's a good goal to
yeah,
meet the standard.
well, and I agree, and we'll talk more about it if and when it happens, but certainly, yeah, it's a good goal, and I think I'll end on, this isn't sustainable. I believe that it is perfectly responsible in 2024, but it's also not to be taken as a precedent that that's what 25 and 26, and we know we can't do that, but we also know we're not going to yo-yo the mill levy up and down. We think we can continue its trend downward responsibly. So that's all I have.
Pat, do you have anything else? Paul? FCDC.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Just a couple of quick things. I gave about a 4-year history report on FCDC to the City of Ottawa this week, and just want you to know, I'm going to do a similar report for you. I'm on vacation next week, so the following week's when I kind of plan if that works. I'll coordinate with Derek, but I want you to know, I want to bring a kind of a 4-year report on what FCDC's done and how we're doing, and give that information to you. I feel it's important, especially with the county and the city, is the amount of support that you give, that you get some pretty good updates on how that money's being utilized and our fiduciary responsibility to you. So just wanted to share that and let you know I'll be offline next week. But happy to answer any questions until Friday. Thanks.
Christy, do you have anything? All right. Sheriff? All right, David?
So we're in July now, so I thought I'd give you some first half of the year stats on the Road and Bridge Department. Next week, I'll come back with noxious weed and solid waste, give you some information there. But so far through the end of June, we have bladed 3,526 different road segments. We've spot bladed, that's taken out potholes and washboards and that sort of thing at 344 locations. We've added gravel to 408 locations around the county. We have taken care of brush and trees and mowing at 322 locations. That figure is not quite accurate because our seasonal blade operators don't have the tablets, so they're not able to record all the information. So that number is actually higher than what I just told you. We have worked on 79 culvert-related projects around the county, 107 ditching projects, 724 sign-related work. We've rebuilt 12 different road segments, and I think this number's a little bit low also, but we've also picked up trash at 45 different locations around the county through the first half of the year, and I feel like that number is low also. We have also completed 377 service requests. Service requests are submitted by members of the public, also by our staff when they're out and about and they see something that, you know, a ditch or culvert or road issue, they have the ability to submit a service request so that we get it logged into our queue and eventually taken care of. So 377 that we have completed so far this year, and we have 181 still waiting to be addressed. So that puts us on pace for, you know, over 1,000 service requests again this year. We average around 1,000 each and every year, except when we have, in 2019 and 2020, those numbers were up significantly. But on average, you know, we're doing about the same amount of, seeing about the same number of service requests. What else here? Right now we are, and I talked about this just a little bit before the meeting, we are heavy into blade patching right now, getting ready for chip seal and taking care of some areas around the county, mostly in the area that we're going to get chip sealed, but we have some other locations that we're also going to be doing this blade patching. On Rock Creek Road down by the bridge is another location that we're going to take care of.
What are you gonna do there?
On the east side of the bridge, there's a spot there that needs to be addressed.
How are they gonna do that?
Right now, we're thinking that we're just going to cover it up one more time. It may be a case where, you know, if that doesn't work, that we may have to come back and do a larger project. On the west side of the bridge, we're going to try once again to put a little bit more material on top of that where it's sliding. I think we're always going to have trouble in that location because of the water and flooding that occurs down there. But we are, and due to our staff shortages, most of our folks are involved with that process, so we're not hauling a lot of rock right at the moment. We just don't have the personnel to put in the trucks and do that work right at the moment. But what they've done so far, I think, looks really good, and they've taken care of some problem areas, significant problem areas, and we'll continue that. Got about another week or so, week and a half maybe, to get wrapped up what we need to this year.
Dave, you mentioned your tablets. How much did you rely on your software in compiling this information?
100%.
And how much time would you say that, I know you're spitballing, but would you say that saved you having that software?
Well, I was able to, in about 5 minutes, print the report and have the data for you. Whereas if I had tried to compile that prior to having the software, it would have taken weeks of digging through the various pieces of information to be able to assemble that, and it wouldn't have been as detailed.
And you would have done, I mean, you use your staff well, but
Yeah.
you yourself would have
Yeah.
had to have done a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we have transitioned, and we're not where we want to be by any stretch, but you know, this is a daily practice. They record the work that they do each day with the material that they use, the personnel, the equipment, all of the things that we needed for the FEMA FEMA reimbursement process, we're recording on a daily basis each and every day, all the different activities that we do. Now, we're not, it's not 100%, but we are doing very, very well, I think. And we continue to make modifications, and we will forever, in our processes and how we do things. At some point, I'll want to have a tablet in all of my employees' hands. We're not there yet, but, we want to continue on that path to get to that point. But, yeah, I've got, on this report right here, I've got labor hours, labor costs, equipment costs, material costs, all of those things are right on this one report. And I have access to, it's not unlimited, but I have a great number of reports that I can do. When I need a piece of information, or any of my staff, they can go to that and look up what they need and have relatively accurate numbers, far more precise than we've ever had before.
We don't want another 2019, but
Absolutely not.
if we ever do.
Yes, ma'am, we'll be a little more prepared.
Wow, awesome. All right, Janet.
So we're wrapping up all of the individual small budget cemeteries, fire districts, townships. We're getting those all wrapped up. And so you're going to start seeing meeting dates for those. We have a lot of them that'll be happening in August. Cemeteries and townships that aren't going to exceed the revenue neutral rate. We do have several fire districts that plan to exceed, so you'll be seeing those meetings in September. So those will all be floating around now, and you'll be hearing about those meetings. So feel free to attend those. If you have questions about the budgets for any of these individual entities, I have all of their budgets down at my office. So happy to show those to you guys, to the public. Anybody who wants to see those are available in my office.
All right, commissioners' reports. Dawn.
Yeah, I'll go to the Wellsville City meeting tonight, so don't have anything to report there. I did go to the Wellsville Chamber meeting yesterday. They did issue, they've had a director per se the last year or so, and she has done, Miss Lori Kaufman, and she's done a great job up there. And the board, they was only extended 6 months at a time, and they feel she's done such a good job, they decided to extend for a year this time. They give her a raise, $1 an hour raise, and extended it for a 12-month period. And they had the funds on hand that they have reserved to take care of that position. And we think she's done a heck of a job. And they selected a new president and a secretary yesterday. And they did, as a result of their fundraiser golf tournament, they raised $7,000. And just a lot of small talk and discussion. And the president, Susan Stevens, does a great job, and she's stepping down, and everything in her, mostly everything up there is moving right along, and I know I drove over to the site where the ambulance going, and construction is just going crazy over there.
Good.
Where they're putting in the new housing development and everything back in there, so I look for things to keep moving that way. And I think they got a board up there that's behind the improvements, and where maybe, it hadn't always been that way, but that it seems like they're really behind and looking forward to the development. That's all I got.
I attended the chamber board meeting yesterday morning, nothing really to report. The City of Ottawa in their study session on Monday, they're looking to probably not stay revenue neutral, but they are looking, it looked like maybe a 1 3/4 reduction in their mill levy. And then they are still trying to finalize a new development kind of beside Walmart in Princeton, the Princeton Street area. So that looks like it's moving forward. That would be awesome to get some new doors in Ottawa. And that is all I have. So I guess we're adjourned.